So the next section after shooting is assaults. That's probably the longest of the steps, but I find typically in games you do fewest of assaults. It depends what kind of force. I guess maybe because I play a lot of armor, so I don't have a lot of assaulting units, but it's probably the most complicated, but that being said, it's not that complicated. So assaults are done. Again, all kinds of, if it's not explaining it in a text example, it's giving you these diagrams to break down the situations. That's probably my favorite part of the entire book. So just flipping through quickly, getting to the next section after assaults, which is artillery, a very fun part of the game. This is your big guns, your smoke bombardments, your rockets, all that stuff. So again, broken down into sections. So the artillery gives you nice depictions of actual war footage, which is really nice. And then it's got these little pieces of artifact information too, just to fill the pages in and give you some background info. Again, diagrams. Oh, and I should mention at the end of every section, there's actually a summary. So this is your artillery summary page. What this walks you through, start to finish, how to do the artillery phase. Select an aiming point, roll to range in, and then the things that affect that. Roll to hit teams under the template, things that affect that. Roll saves for teams that were hit, the things that affect that. And then pin down all platoons that were hit. Done. Repeat. Repeat. And this is done at the end of every phase. So end of shooting has a summary. End of assaults has a summary. End of aircraft, which is coming up, has a summary, which is another great thing. So here's your airport summary here. Then it just goes into some things about reconnaissance, just extra, kind of like the extra rules or the more advanced rules. Some things you're not going to use all the time, but like night fighting, for example. And then it goes into these full spread depictions of photographs, which is another great thing. Then at the end of the book, it goes into a little bit about the specific unit, or the specific factions, so Germans, Russians, and each of the factions has their own special rules page. So their doctrine, their tanks have a couple special rules for the Germans, their weapons, and their armored infantry. And this is done for every nation. So the British have them as well. Then it moves into the Russians, and then it moves into the Americans. And in the big rule book, what you do is you get a few extra things as well, like your painting, some painting tips, some assembly tips, some basing tips. And then the final thing in here is your missions. So there is, I believe, 7 missions in here. So right out of the book, you can start playing missions. Free-for-all, encounter, you got hold the line. There's a few others here as well. And they have a full-page description, how the scenario, what your orders are, how to prepare for battle, begin the battle, ending the battle, and deciding who won. So that's nicely laid out, easy to follow. And there's a few additional things at the back, like fortifications and how large buildings, special units that some of the armies have, like radio-controlled demolition carriers. These are fun to play with. You don't use them all the time, so they are at the back, but if you do have them, then this would be a particular page of interest to you. And then, again, a couple just different things, street fighting, how to handle large buildings as opposed to just regular buildings, and then a few other odds and ends. So that basically summarizes the book for you, what's in there. I'm just going to continue flipping here. And then there's some additional information on how to build a table here, for instance, and some additional, there's terrain charts. I don't tend to use those, but they're in here if you do want them. So at the back, there's this really great quick reference sheet, and I think Battlefront even puts this out so you can print this right from their website. So this breaks down everything again in another condensed, summarized form, handy to have on hand if you don't have the rule book, or if you have the mini rule book. This is a nice large size, so it's a little easier on the eyes. And then at the back, you got your rule index. So tons of quick references if the summaries and the other information wasn't enough for you. So they've made this super user-friendly and really easy to look up things. And if you can't find it in here, it's probably a very, very strange situation that probably won't occur ever again. So they've pretty much covered everything that you can possibly run into. And if not on here, check the forums, Battlefront forums. They do a fantastic job at answering questions, and there's all kinds of helpful people there, including myself. So go check it out. I hope you enjoyed the rundown of the rulebook. I try not to reveal everything because I really want you to buy this book. In no way am I trying to spoil their sales at all. If anything else, I'm trying to promote them. So go grab your copy of Flames of War rulebook and come back next episode, and we'll tune in and we'll start looking at all the rules. Not all the rules, sorry. The basic rules, how things work, how things are sort of flow in the terms of sequence of play. I'll get into some basic moving, shooting. I'll talk a little more about the status, because I think you really should know about the veteran and conscript and trained and reluctant and fearless. Those are all important factors to know. And knowing your units and what the advantage of taking a fearless veteran unit over a reluctant conscript unit is. So I'll get into more detail on that, and hopefully you'll stay tuned. So cheers.